Stephanie there?
Yes.
Mr. Doggett? Mr. Doggett, are you there? Mr. Doggett, are you there? We'll come back to him. Foster.
Apologize, Judge. We had a camera issue.
That's okay. Not a problem.
Hope it stays up for right now. I don't know why it fell.
Well, let's try. We'll try to get through this quickly then. Is that your client, Ms. Moyer?
Yes, it is. This is Judith Moyer, Judge.
All right. Ms. Moyer, if you'd raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Okay, we're on the record in 23 CPR 039612, estate of Timothy Carl Moyer. Mr. Foster, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to call Judith Moyer. Please state your full name for the court.
Judith Ann Moyer.
And your husband was Timothy Carl Moyer,
Yes,
and he passed away on July 8th of 2023. Is that correct?
correct.
And at that time, he lived in Fort Bend County, Texas,
Yes,
as well as y'all own property here in Fort Bend County, Texas.
right.
Okay. Your husband, he left a will dated July 7th, 1999.
Yeah,
And Judge, we'd ask the court to take judicial knowledge that the original is on file.
The court shall take judicial notice.
And will you project the file, the will, or you want me to?
I will. Let me get it up there. 1 second.
Okay, Ms. Moore, you see this that's on the screen. This is what your husband had as his last will and testament?
looks like it. Yeah,
Okay. And that's his initials on the bottom of each page, and then
right,
that is his signature at the end. Is that correct?
right,
Okay. And this will was witnessed and notarized and self-proven, correct?
right.
Okay. And your husband never revoked this will after making this will?
No,
Okay. And he never had any children or adopted any children after the making of this will?
no,
Okay. And you and he were married when this will was made and still married when he passed away?
yes,
Okay. And there's no governmental agencies or charities named in the will either, correct?
no,
Okay.
there are not.
Okay. And the will appoints you as the executrix of his will,
Yes,
and you're qualified to serve and not disqualified in any way, correct?
correct.
Okay. And you're asking this court to issue letters testamentary in this case?
Yes,
That's all I have, Judge.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Judith Ann Moyer. She testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will and probate and appoint Ms. Moyer as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. Ma'am, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. We'll get
Foster,
the,
have a great day. Thank you.
thank you. We'll get the
Signed
proof.
shortly. Your camera's falling.
All right. Sorry about that, Judge. Thank
That's
you.
okay. We made it through before it fell. So
Yes, we did. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
bye. Good morning,
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Connor.
How are you?
Very good. I'm bringing your client in right now. He's just having issues with his connection. It'll just be a
No
second.
problem. He should be at Ed Krennic's office. I don't know if you know Mr. Krennic. He's an attorney out of Katy. I can call him on his cell phone if you'd like me to.
Well, he's in the waiting room. I'm trying to bring him in, but for some
Okay.
reason it says it's joining, but it's taking him some time to join.
Got it.
He just disconnected. He just
Okay.
left. So I'm thinking he's having some sort of issues with his device or connection.
Could be.
Let me see if he pops back in the waiting room. Otherwise, if I can't get him in here in just a second, I got to move on to the next case. I'll come back to you.
Gotcha. No problem.
All right, Mr. Connor, he is not in the waiting room.
Okay, I'll call him in the meantime and we'll try and link back up.
Very good. I'll come back to you here in probably about 10 minutes or so.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Doggett, you there?
Yes, sir.
Recording in progress.
I think he heard me.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. Your video's not on. There we go. All right. And I assume you're covering the Franklin Lee Jarrett case.
That's correct.
Okay. Is your client with you?
She is.
I am.
Okay. Your picture is frozen. So all I see is your face frozen right now, Mr. Doggett. So I don't see anybody else. But we're going to move forward. Let me get us on the record. On the record in 24 CPR 041169, estate of Franklin Lee Jarrett. Ma'am, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear, yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Doggett, you may take it from here.
Judge, we'll call Tommy Jean Jarrett as our witness. Miss Jarrett, did Franklin Lee Jarrett die on May 8th, 2024 in Houston, Harris County, Texas
Yeah,
at the age of 80 years?
yes,
And is he your husband?
yes, he is.
Was he at least 18 years of age and of sound mind at the time he executed his will?
Yes, sir.
In fact, I'll show you a copy of what a document titled Last Will and Testament of Franklin Lee Jarrett, which was electronically filed with the Fort Bend County Clerk on June 25th, 2024. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir, I do.
And is that the last will and testament of Franklin Lee Jarrett?
Yes, sir.
And did you and he execute your wills on the same day at the same time and in the presence of each other?
Yes, he did.
And so you recognize the will as the one he signed on that day?
Yes, sir.
And you saw him sign it and you recognize his signature,
Yes.
correct? 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death, has it?
No,
And was Mr. Jarrett a resident of or have a domicile or fixed place of residence in Fort Bend County, Texas at the time he passed away?
yes,
Is it necessary to have an administration of this estate?
yes,
Were any children born to or adopted by Mr. Jarrett after the date he executed his will?
no,
Were any of his marriages dissolved after the date he executed his will?
no,
Is any state, governmental agency, or charitable organization named as a devisee in the will?
no,
Are you, Tommy Jean Jarrett, named in the will as the independent executrix of your husband's estate?
yes, sir.
Are you disqualified by law from accepting letters testamentary?
No,
And have you ever been convicted of a crime of theft, fraud, or any type of crime involving moral turpitude?
no, sir.
Is there any reason why you should not be appointed by this court to be the independent executor of the estate of Franklin Lee Jarrett?
No,
I know you're requesting that the court admit your husband's will to probate and issue you letters testamentary as independent executrix.
yes,
That's all we have, Judge.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Tommy Jean Jarrett. She testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will into probate and appoint Ms. Jarrett as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. Ms. Jarrett, I'm very sorry for your loss.
thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Doggett, anything further?
No, Judge, we will have her sign her proof of death and other facts and her oath and get that filed with the court.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Doggett. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Askins, can you hear me?
Yes, Judge. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hear
It's
you.
my understanding that you will be proving up the will, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 24 CPR 041316, estate of Christine Fuhrer Delay. Mr. Askins, if you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you may proceed with your proof up.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, Christine Delay passed away in Harris County, Texas on April 27th of this year. She did have a fixed place of residence in Sugar Land, Fort Bend County, Texas, at the time of her death. She made a will dated August 12th, 2022, so exactly 2 years ago today. This will was never revoked by Ms. DeLay, to the best of my knowledge. I'm actually one of the two attesting witnesses to the will, drafted it, and myself and my spouse were the two subscribing witnesses. We were both present and witnessed the decedent, Christine DeLay, published this to be her, recorded this to be her last will and testament, and to sign that will in our presence. As I testified to a moment ago, this will has never been revoked by Ms. DeLay. There were no children born to or adopted by Ms. DeLay after the making of this will. She was never divorced after the making of this will. 4 years have not elapsed since the date of her death. No state or governmental agency or charity is named as a devotee in the will. There is a necessity for administration of the estate, specifically due to a trust account that is not payable to beneficiaries. The will does name the decedent's daughter, Danielle DeLay Garcia, to serve as independent executor. She has signed a declination form, which was included in our application. Thomas Dale DeLay, the surviving spouse of Christine DeLay, is named to serve as independent executor and is asking the court to be appointed as independent executor to serve without bond. This is a non-taxable estate. We'd ask the court to waive the appointment of appraisers and to admit the will of Miss Christine DeLay to probate.
The court heard the testimony of Clark T. Askins. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will into probate and appoint Thomas Dale DeLay as independent executor to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. I will wait until after the posting period has passed to sign the order, which should be about August 19th, I believe.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Askins, thank you so much. Anything further for the record?
I just wanted to extend my gratitude to the court for making an accommodation, a special accommodation for Mr. DeLay. I know he's a special guy, and got to know his wife. She's a very special woman. I know it means a lot to him that you made this special accommodation for him so that he could get his house sold.
Not a problem. Tell him hi for me.
I will, Judge. Thank you
All right,
again.
thank you. Let's go back to the Mr. Connor and that other case, Melanson.
Okay.
Mr. Connor, I think we have your client. Just need to get his video turned on, unmute it, and we're ready to go.
Very good. All right, there we go.
Good morning.
Good
Sorry
morning.
for the delay.
That's okay. All right, we're on the record in 24 CPR 041055, the state of Diana Rydell Melanson, Diana Florence Melanson. Mr. Melanson, if you raise your right hand to be sworn by the court, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Connor, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Melanson, would you please state your name for the court?
David Riddell Melanson.
And isn't it true that your mother, Diana Riddell Melanson, also known as Diana Florence Melanson, died on May 4th, 2024 in Fort Bend County, Texas, at the age of 85, and that 4 years have not elapsed between the date of her death and the filing of the application to probate her will.
Yes.
And isn't it true that your mother was domiciled and residing in Fort Bend County on the date of her death?
Yes.
You see there on the screen in front of you the document which purports to be your mother's last will and testament dated September 13th, 2011. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And do you recognize that as your mother's signature?
Yes.
And isn't it true that, as far as you know, this document was never revoked by your mother?
Yes.
Isn't it true that no children were born to or adopted by your mother after the making of the document?
Yes.
Isn't it true that no marriage of the decedents was dissolved after the date of the document?
Yes.
Isn't it true that the document does not name any charitable organizations, the state, or a governmental agency of the state as a beneficiary?
Yes.
Isn't it true that a necessity exists for the administration of this estate?
Yes.
Isn't it true that the will names your father, J. Robert Melanson, as independent executor to serve without bond, but that he is deceased, having died on January 21st, 2012, and that his will was probated in cause number 14058 in the County Court of Wharton County, Texas?
Yes.
Isn't it true that the will names you as alternate independent executor to serve without bond?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you are qualified and not disqualified by law from accepting letters testamentary or from serving as alternate executor?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you are entitled to such letters as the alternate independent executor named in the will?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, the court heard the testimony of David Rydell Melanson. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate and appoint Mr. Melanson as independent executor to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. Mr. Melanson, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Your Honor.
Mr. Connor, is there anything further for the record?
No, Your Honor, there's not.
Okay, y'all have a good day then.
Thank you
You
very
too.
much.
Thanks, sir.
We're going to move on to Smith.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 24 CPR 041215, the state of Lila Town Smith, aka Lila Ruth Smith. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Johnson, you may take it from here.
Thanks, Judge. All right, bud, please state your name in relation to Lila Town Smith, aka Lila Ruth Smith.
My name is Edward Lamar Smith. I am Lila Ruth.
And did Lila die on May 20th, 2024 in Richmond, Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes,
And at that time, she was living in Richmond.
yes.
Judge, can we see her will real quick?
Now, let me pull that up. Hold on.
Do you recognize that as Lila's last will and testament?
Yes,
And do you recognize that she signed this will on March 27th, 2023 in front of 2 witnesses and a notary?
yes,
Was Lila of sound mind and at least 18 years old when she signed her will?
yes.
Did she ever revoke this will?
No,
Were any children born to or adopted by Lila after the signing of the will?
no,
Did she dissolve a marriage after she signed that will?
no,
Did the will give anything to the state of Texas, a governmental agency, or charity?
no,
Did Lila apply for or receive Medicaid benefits on or after March 1st, 2005?
no,
And to the best of your knowledge and belief, are there any unpaid debts owed by Lila's estate other than debt secured by liens on real estate?
no,
And is there a need for administration of this estate?
no.
Nothing further, Judge. We just ask for the need of the affidavit of fulfillment of terms be waived.
Court heard the testimony of Edward Lamar Smith. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will and probate as an immuniment of title, and the affidavit of fulfillment of terms is waived. But I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one. Anything further for the record, Mr. Johnson, before we?
Nothing further, Judge.
Very good. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you. I don't have Ms. Howard in the waiting room, so I'm going to come back to case number 5.
Okay.
Save that towards the end of docket. Did everybody hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040420, guardianship of Michelle Abisola Babaloa. All those who intend to testify, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. If you would unmute yourself and respond, please. Mr. Babaloa, you need to unmute yourself, sir. You're still muted, sir.
I'm sorry, do you mind me communicating with him so I can let him know where to go? Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, very good. Thank you. You can lower your hand now. All right, Mr. Hanley, you may get us started.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Boyd Hanley. I'm the attorney for the proposed co-guardians, Mr. and Mrs. Babalola.
Call your first witness.
Your Honor, we have a medical certificate that's been on file with the court from Dr. Charles Pony. It was evaluated and signed on October 9, 2023, and we'd like to introduce that into evidence.
Mr. Dunham.
No objection, Your Honor, and I don't know if this is a good time, but I will waive my client's appearance based on the physician's recommendation.
Very good. The appearance of the proposed ward is waived. And Mr. Hanley, do you want to admit it, or do you want the court to take judicial notice?
Judicial notice, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. The court shall take judicial notice of the certificate on file. You may proceed.
Mr. Babalola, can you state your full name for the court record?
John Abayomi Babalola.
And your relationship to Michelle as the father, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle has one minor and one adult sibling, and the adult sibling's waiver is on file with the court, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the biological mother is deceased, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're applying for full guardianship of the person only, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle currently lives at 16914 Devon Dogwood Trail in Richmond, Fort Bend County, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you and your wife also live at that same address, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle is 20 years old, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle suffers from Down syndrome and intellectual disability as diagnosed in the physician certificate, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when I met with you, we discussed the least restrictive means to guardianship, such as power of attorney, medical power of attorney, and supported decision-making agreements, and found that those documents were not sufficient to ward off guardianship. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And guardianship is needed to obtain social services for Michelle. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned that Michelle is not currently receiving Social Security and Medicaid, but you plan to apply for that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she does not have any income or assets. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you currently have health insurance on Michelle?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle is currently enrolled in George Bush High School Adult Transition Program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And as far as you know, no one is holding a power of attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Michelle has never been married or has any children. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you are qualified to serve as a guardian. You've registered with the JBCC for all your certificates with the court, and you've also had your criminal background check submitted to the court.
Yes, sir.
And when I met with you, we reviewed the rights of the proposed ward and your duties as guardian, such as notifying the court if you move within the county. Also, if you move outside the county or the state, you need to notify the court and transfer your guardianship. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you also know that each year you have to file an annual report with the court and then renew your letters of guardianship. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking the court to grant full co-guardianship of the person only. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'll pass this witness.
Mr. Dunham.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Babalolo, do you remember I met with you and Michelle and your wife back on June 4th at your house?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. And we discussed a little bit about Michelle's condition, and she has Down syndrome and intellectual disability, as Mr. Hanley provided. Can you tell the court some things that she has some difficulties with as far as, taking care of herself?
Sometime, sometime taking a shower, sometime she needs some help when she go through her period.
Okay.
Apart from that, she can do most of the stuff herself.
As far as managing finances and that sort of thing, is that something she would understand, or does she need help with that as well?
She need help.
Okay. And as far as being able to hold down a job and care for herself going forward, is that something she'd be able to do, or is she going to need your support kind of going forward through?
She's gonna need my support.
Okay, very good. We've touched on this, but you understand as her guardian, you'll have an ongoing duty to the court to file an annual report, let the court know what her condition is from year to year, if it changes, that sort of thing. And you're willing to take on those duties as her guardian. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Hanley, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Babalola, can you state your full name for the court record? And you need to unmute yourself.
My full name is Omobolanle Babalola.
Thank you. And your
And I
relationship?
really do apologize. I'm in and out of work, but I'm in a quiet location.
No problem. And your relationship to Michelle as a stepmother, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And you're also qualified to serve as co-guardian, is that correct?
Right, that's correct.
And as with your husband, you've registered with the JBCC, you've taken the online course and submitted that to the court, and you've had your criminal background checks done, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And when I also met with you, we discussed your duties as co-guardians, such as letting the court know if you do change residences, counties or state, and also about turning in an annual report each year with the court at 12 months, and then renewing your guardianship letters. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Mr. Dunham.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Babalola, do you also remember meeting with me on June 4th with your husband and Michelle?
Yes,
I do remember.
Very good. And at that time, well, I guess could you tell the court how long have you lived with Michelle as her stepmother and been taking
About
part
2
of her care?
years. About 2
Okay.
years now.
Okay, very good.
2022 March.
Okay. And in that time, you've become familiar with Michelle and her needs, and you're able to care for her and know what she wants.
Right. Can you repeat your question again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch
I'm
it.
sorry. In the time that you lived with Michelle, you've come to know kind of how to take care of her and what her needs are. Is that correct? Okay, very good.
Right.
And along with your husband, you are willing to assume the duties as her guardian, including to advocate for her and to file the reports with the court on an annual basis and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, Your Honor, no further questions from this witness.
Mr. Hanley, any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor. We would just request a minimum bond since Michelle does not have any assets, Your Honor.
And Mr. Dunham, your fee in the matter?
Yes, I had filed a request for 450 as my fee, and I think since this was, I think the Babalolas filed an affidavit of indigency, so I would assume I get paid from the county. Is that how that works? Or
If an affidavit's on file, you'll be paid by the county. Correct.
okay, that's what I was making sure.
All right. After listening to testimony, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that Michelle Abusola Babalola is totally incapacitated in need of a guardian with full authority over the person. The court finds the guardianship is warranted and appoints John Abayami Babalola and Omo Balani Babalola as guardian of the person of the proposed ward. And I apologize if I mispronounce y'all's names. Bond is set at $50 each. I'm going to discharge Mr. Dunham as attorney ad litem and award him a fee in the amount of $450.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dunham. And Mr. and Mrs. Babalola, good luck to you on this. I mean, nothing changes. Still your daughter and stepdaughter. The only major thing is you're going to have to file a report with the court every single year, just it's of the well-being of the child. And so you're going to give me an update on how things are going. And if I have any questions, we'll be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank
Y'all
you
have a good
so
day.
much. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I have another hearing, Your Honor, so I thought I'd hang out in case I was next.
Yeah. Actually, Mr. Handley's got another one.
Oh, did it? Okay. Well, I'll come back then.
Take his, and then I'll come to, and then you're next after that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Your Honor.
Seems like Miss Deming's having an issue connecting. We'll give her a minute.
I'll give her a quick call.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I set it up and did the test, and then when it came on live, it went back to mute and no odd video. So I apologize for the confusion.
That's okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040483, guardianship of BB. All those who intend to testify, if you raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Hanley, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the court record, my name is Boyd Hanley. I represent the proposed guardian, Lauren Deming. Your Honor, we'll have a medical certificate that's been on file with the court from a Dr. Felipe, evaluated and signed on February the 7th, 2024. We'd like to introduce that as evidence and take judicial notice of that, Your Honor.
Ms. Ballou, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, the court shall take judicial notice of the certificate on file. You may continue, Mr. Hanley.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Demings, can you state your full name for the court record?
Yes, it's Laura Maria Deming.
And your relationship to Bo is the mother, is that correct?
Correct.
And he has one sibling, and the sibling's waiver is on file with the court, and the biological father is deceased. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're applying for full guardianship of the person only. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Beav currently lives at 4911 Quartz Cove Court in Richmond, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you also live at that same address. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Bo is currently 18 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there is a need to apply for guardianship because the proposed ward suffers from autism, verbal dyspraxia, ideomotor apraxia, and intellectual disability as diagnosed in the physician's certificate. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when I met with you, we discussed the least restrictive means to guardianship, such as power of attorney, medical power of attorney, and supported decision-making agreements, and found that those documents were insufficient to ward off guardianship. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And a guardianship is needed for attaining social services. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're currently on the Medicaid waivers you're receiving, and he's also receiving death benefits from his father. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And other than those benefits, he has no other income or any assets. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And do you currently have health insurance on him?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And he is currently enrolled in Travis High School. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And as far as you know, no one is holding a power of attorney. Is that correct?
No. Yes, that's correct. No one's holding the power of attorney.
And he's never been married or has any children. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you're qualified to serve as guardian. You've registered with the JBCC. You've taken the online course and filed it with the court. And you've also had your criminal background check submitted to the court. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And when I met with you, we discussed the rights of your son as the ward, and we also discussed your rights as far as telling the court if you change addresses within Fort Bend County, and also if you move outside to another county or another state, you need to notify the court and transfer guardianship. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And each year, you're also supposed to file a annual report on the well-being of your son. And once that's filed, you can renew your guardianship letters. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And you're asking the court to grant guardianship of the person only. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Your Honor, I'll pass this witness.
Ms. Baloo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Deming, have there been any changes in Bo's physical diagnosis since the date of that healthcare provider's certificate of medical examination
No, there has not.
back in February?
No, no, ma'am. No, there's not.
And you understand that this court may require that you pay a bond?
Yes, that's correct. I
And
understand.
you'd be willing to do that in
Yes.
addition to the other duties that Mr. Hanley talked about you taking on?
Yes.
And as far as you're concerned, there still are no supports or lesser means of taking care of him than going through with this guardianship?
Yes, that's correct.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Hanley?
We request a minimum bond since the ward does not have any assets, Your Honor.
And Ms. Baloo, your fees in the matter are $525. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
After listening to testimony, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that Bo Glenn Blackwood is totally incapacitated in need of a guardian with full authority over the person. The court finds the guardianship is warranted and appoints Laura Deming as guardian of the person of the proposed ward. Bond is set at $50. I'm going to discharge Ms. Baloo as attorney ad litem in this matter and award her a fee in the amount of $525. Ms. Deming, nothing really changes. Everything kind of continues the way it's always been. The only difference really will be the filing of a report each year regarding the well-being of the ward. Just make sure you get that in on time. If you have any questions, you can contact the court or Mr. Hanley as well.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deming. Mr. Hanley, anything further for the record?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, you all have a great day.
Thank you, Your
Have a
Honor.
great day.
Sorry, Your Honor, I forgot I had to sign back in.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. We're on the record in 23 CPR 040188, guardianship of Morgan Faith Rogers. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ms. Rogers, can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear your response. So, Ms. Lesher, you may proceed with your prove-up.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rogers, will you please state your full name for the court?
Melissa Rogers.
And what is your relationship to the proposed ward, Morgan Faith Rogers?
I'm her mom.
And is it true that her date of birth is November 24th, 2005?
Yes.
And does she reside with you?
Yes.
And does Morgan require full care at home?
Yes.
Will you please describe briefly to this court her medical condition and diagnosis?
So Morgan is intellectually delayed. She has autism. She has irretractable epilepsy with daily seizures. So she might have 8 to 10 seizures a day. She has a gut disorder, which causes her to have an immune disorder. So she requires weekly infusions to kind of replace antibodies and protein. She has Hashimoto thyroiditis, a number of other medical conditions. Shall I go on or?
That's fine, Ms. Rogers, thank you.
Okay.
At this time, Your Honor, I would like to enter in the doctor's letter by Julie Epen, dated October 16th, 2023.
Do you want the court to take judicial notice of the doctor's letter on file?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dunham, any objection?
No objection. And again, Your Honor, if this is a good time, I will waive my client's appearance in this.
Your client's appearance is waived, and the court shall take judicial notice of the certificate on file. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Melissa, so it's true that Morgan is not able to manage her own medical or healthcare or living arrangements. Is that correct?
That's true.
And is it true that she's not able to handle any type of financial affairs or manage her own property?
That is true.
And is it true that you are qualified to be her guardian since you take care of her day-to-day needs and coordinate her care?
Yes.
And is it true that her father is unable to do so due to a medical condition that he has?
Yes.
And it's true that Morgan is receiving benefits through Medicaid?
She is.
And remember, we discussed if Morgan could sign a power of attorney or supportive decision-making document. Do you remember that conversation you and I had?
I do.
Do you believe that she could sign such a document and understand what it meant?
No.
And we also discussed, are there any other alternatives to this guardianship or support or service that we could include that would make the appointment of a guardian not necessary? And there is no such alternative or service. Is that correct?
No.
And do you understand that each year you will need to complete an annual review with this court in order to maintain guardianship of Morgan? Is that correct?
Yes.
And is it true that you are asking this court to appoint you as guardian of the person only since she has no funds in her name? Is that correct?
True.
And you are qualified to serve as her guardian and not disqualified to serve. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions past the witness.
Mr. Dunham.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rogers, I met with you and Morgan on February 20th at your home. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Very good. And in meeting with her, as you've indicated, she's got a severe intellectual disability. She was able to sort of make her wishes known about certain things, but as far as communicating clearly, there's some challenges there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. But it kind of in the meeting we had, it was clear that she was happy with you taking care of her and making decisions for her. And so you, to the extent she understands the guardianship, you believe she would be in favor of you serving as her guardian. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. You've touched on that she can't really, take care of herself or manage finances in her condition. Is that correct?
True.
Very good. And you'd also indicated that she needs around the care around the clock nursing care just because of her seizures and other physical conditions. Is that right?
True.
Okay, very good. We touched a little bit on your duties to the court and filing your annual report. Also, if you're aware, I'm sure your attorneys explained that if you ever if Morgan ever moves for any reason, either inside or outside the county, you also need to make the court aware of that, and you're willing to take on that duty as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Lusher, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. After listening to testimony, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that Morgan Faith Rogers is totally incapacitated in need of a guardian with full authority over the person. The court finds that a guardianship is warranted and appoints Melissa Rogers as guardian of the person of the proposed ward. Bond is set at $50. The court's going to discharge Mr. Dunham from his duties as attorney ad litem and award him a fee in the amount of $650.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Rogers, nothing really changes between you and your daughter. You just continue to do what you've always done. The only real change is going to be the filing of a report each year with the court. Okay. It's just a report of the well-being of the ward. Just kind of update the court on what's going on and make sure everything's going just fine.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Ms. Lusher, anything further for the record?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
McCullough, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I appreciate you getting this heard on such short notice.
Oh, I appreciate you taking care of us quickly. I know there's some issues with this one, and also to Miss Ayala for kind of moving some mountains to
She was instructed
stuff
to make
done,
sure this
hopefully.
happened. She was instructed to make sure this happened. I wanted to make sure we got this taken care of. So I'm concerned about the proposed ward not
I
getting.
did get notice this morning.
Sorry, go ahead.
I did get notice this morning from the clerk's office that the orders and report were accepted.
I have them. I see them right now, so we're good. Ms. Hernandez, can you hear us? Ms. Hernandez, you there? Hello, can you hear us? Okay, I cannot hear you. Yeah, I don't hear. Can you hear her, Mr. McCullough?
No, Judge.
Okay, all right. Mr. Hernandez, will you check your connection? Make sure that, or check your audio connection with Zoom.
I just let her know too, Judge.
No, we cannot hear you. If you go on Zoom, maybe under the audio tab, if you click that little arrow up, go test audio, test speakers and microphone. And then check to see what device is connected as your microphone. No, we don't. We can't hear you. We'll give you some time to get it figured out. Stephanie, while we're waiting, number 5 on the docket passed.
Okay, thank you.
Judge, I apologize on that hearing last week.
Oh,
You guys were calling me.
Where you
I
didn't make a
waited
phone call?
until 9:50, 9:55, and I'm like, okay, well, I assume they're done. I jumped in the shower
And then we call you.
and get out of the shower. I was like, well, crud.
That's all right. We got it figured out and taken care of.
Excellent.
Mr. Hernandez, we cannot hear you. Can you maybe connect with another audio device? Okay, that's fine.
Judge, just FYI, I'm getting a little bit of lag on you, so just FYI.
Okay. Are you zooming from the courthouse?
I am here in Harris County. So
That's your
connection.
problem. Mr. Hernandez, if you just want to fully connect through your phone, that probably would be best. Okay. That's okay. Mr. McCullough, before we get started, she has done the background check with the JBCC and all that, correct?
As I understand, yes. The last I understood, we were just waiting for Mr. Keenan on the background check to get completed. But I
Okay.
believe she's completed the certification course.
I'm going to check downstairs with the clerk's office to make sure that background check is done. Because this is a very simple, just successor transfer of guardianship. So we just need to get this minor into school quickly.
I did see that Annie had followed up with Mr. Keenan on a couple of email requesting him to expedite this matter.
Fingers crossed. Thing is, Annie's out sick today too, so she's not here to help answer the question. So we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way and figure it out.
Yeah, we flew in from Colorado last night, and back to Houston weather.
Mm-hmm.
Did she message?
I see that. Phone app is asking for meeting. Oh. You have to use the link through ZConnect. So the link that was sent to you, click on that, and it'll walk you through the steps.
You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, here we go.
All right, we can hear you now, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 12 CPR 024772, guardianship of JB. All those who intend to testify, if you raise your right hand. Mr. Hernandez, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Very good. Mr. McCullough, we are here for a appointment of a successor guardian of the person in this particular case. Would you just go through a brief prove up to ensure she is qualified to serve as successor?
Yes, Judge. Do you want a little bit of background for the record?
That's fine.
Judge, as you said, this is a successor guardian. The minor's mother was killed in a car crash about 13, 14 years ago. There had been, I believe, 2 successor guardians appointed. Unfortunately, each of those successor guardians has passed away. The most recent guardian was the child's grandmother, who unfortunately passed away, I believe, in May of this year. And as you're aware, that requires a new guardian. The child is currently 15 years old, is enrolled or should be enrolled at Kempner High School. There is an immediate need for the appointment of a successor guardian due to the fact that child needs permission slips, waivers, things like that to participate in sports. It's my understanding that this is only a need of the guardian of the person. It's my understanding from prior filings that there was a registry of the court that was established for funds that were deposited, resulting from some litigation from the accident. And I believe, in speaking with Ms. Hernandez, that there is a custodial account with the brokerage, but that should be in the court's record. So due to the nature of this need, I would say that the request that the hearings and the citations and notices be waived under Texas State Code 1203.102B, in that he is starting school and we do not have the time to get all the proper citations and notices issued in this matter.
Yeah, I understand we've expedited this to ensure that his enrollment happens sooner than later, and there are no issues with the guardian being able to enroll him in school. So,
but I can speak to Ms. Hernandez and
why don't you take a few questions from Ms. Hernandez? We're gonna go from there.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Ms. Hernandez. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Sandra Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am. And how are you related to the minor JB?
I'm his aunt.
Okay. Are you his maternal aunt?
Yes, from the mother's side. Yes, sir.
Okay. So his mother was your sister, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Previously, JB was under the guardianship of your mother, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was Miss, apologize for the pronunciation, Giselda Hernandez?
Yes.
And she passed away in May of this year?
Can you repeat that question? Because you
repeat the question.
Miss Giselda Hernandez passed away in May of this year?
Correct.
And currently the child has no guardian, correct?
Correct.
And you currently reside with the child?
Yes.
Okay. And you've never been convicted of any sort of crime or had any issues as far as
No.
moral turpitude or concerns about your trustworthiness?
No.
Okay. Have you completed the guardianship certification course on the JBCC website?
Yes.
Okay. And have you provided that to Miss Ayala?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been contacted by Brian Keenan regarding a background check?
No.
Okay. You currently have two other siblings, correct? For you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But they both had some legal issues, and one currently has a case pending in court one. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So they are not suitable guardians for the minor in this matter, correct?
Correct.
The minor also has one adult sibling, a sister. Is that correct?
Yes.
But she does not reside locally. She resides, I think, up in Cyprus.
Correct.
So to place the child with her would require changing schools, changing locations, things of that nature, correct?
Yes.
And where the child currently resides with you, he has resided there for several years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do you feel it's in the best interest for the child for him to remain in the same environment with the same schedule, same school?
Correct.
Okay. You're aware of the responsibilities for being a guardian. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in the past, you've assisted your mother, the prior guardian, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you understand the need for an annual filing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're willing to take on those responsibilities for JB, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, correct.
Currently, he is 15 years old.
Yes.
And he is going to attend Kempner High School.
Yes.
Okay. And so he needs a guardian in order to make sure you can sign paperwork, fill out forms, permission slips. Correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. And to your knowledge, his father is not involved and has not been involved in his life. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So is it your testimony here today that you feel you're the most qualified guardian to be the successor guardian for the minor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, I have no more questions from Ms. Hernandez.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez, I have a few questions for you. Are you the same Hernandez as a Cynthia Hernandez?
That's my twin sister.
That's your twin sister. So the application has Cynthia Hernandez listed.
Judge, apologies for that. I filed the original application. I listed Cynthia Hernandez because I was doing background research on her, and it was just stuck in my head. I filed an amended application that was accepted by the clerk's office that has Sandra Hernandez listed as the proposed successor guardian.
I
That's
see.
my fault, Judge.
Okay.
So there should be a second one and a second report.
Okay, very good. Mr. Hernandez, a couple more questions. You are not disqualified by law from serving as a guardian in the state of Texas, correct?
No.
And let me clarify that or expand upon that question. You have not been convicted or charged of a felony, correct?
Correct.
Have you ever been convicted or charged of a crime of moral turpitude such as theft?
No.
Okay. And you have never been sued for any fraudulent transactions, correct?
No.
All right. Okay. I'm pretty sure the background check is going to come up just fine. What we're going to do, I'm going to make a phone call after docket today to confirm with the JBCC that your background check is clear. Once that is taken care of, I'm going to appoint you, Ms. Hernandez, as the successor guardian of JB. Looks like I've got everything I need to get that done. Well, I take that back. No, I've got it. I think I've got everything here. I do have a question. You have a motion to withdraw funds that you have filed in this case. It's asking for $2,000 in back to school expenses. Would you mind providing some details on the record of what those expenses are? Are we talking clothes? Are we talking clothes and school supplies? Are we talking something else beyond all of that?
Okay, yes. So it is back to school clothes, shoes, supplies. It's also he's joining football, so he would need cleats, sport equipments, he would need that as well. Then I'm thinking more in advance to put money in his account just in case, I don't know how long the Social Security is going to last for them to release funds because he needs money right now. School lunch and stuff like that. So
Okay.
that's just the number that appeared that will be a safe amount to have until possibly Social Security will release something for him.
Okay, so we're looking not just at school clothes, we're looking at school clothes, supplies, football expenses, and then school lunches as well. And how long
Yes,
do you
because the boy
anticipate
does
those?
not. I'm
And
sorry.
how long do you anticipate that to last you until Social Security kicks back in?
Well, back to school may be all that expense. I don't know, honestly. Hopefully August, September, end of September.
Do you feel like so $2,000 is quite a large number for school clothes,
Yeah.
and supplies as well. I mean, obviously, you can get that done. I would imagine probably under $600 easily.
Okay.
Now you've got football cleats, which I mean, let's just say another $150 there. And then school lunches. I don't know what that would run you for school lunches. That's why I'm just trying to calculate how long you anticipate that to go on before Social Security kicks back in. Because obviously I'd like to keep as much in there as possible to last him
Yeah.
until he turns 18. So do you feel 1,500 would be more than enough to clothe him, feed him, and get him the supplies he needs for school?
Yes, that seems about right. That's okay.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and release $1,500 to you. I'll sign an order to that effect, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
But we need to get you appointed first
Yeah.
before you can get the money. So let me make some phone calls here shortly and figure out where you stand on the background check, and we can go from there.
Sounds good.
Mr. McCullough, anything further for the record?
No, Judge, just briefly for the record, Judge, I did, my report indicated that I had not spoken with the child. I did speak with the child over the weekend and ask him about his preferences. And he did indicate that he is comfortable with Ms. Hernandez serving as his guardian, and he would like to remain at his current location with her as his guardian.
Okay. Very good then. Hey, Mr. McCullough, I'm going through the case file right now. And did you file an order for the appointment of the successor guardian?
I did not, Judge. I just filed the motion. I can work on that today if you need that order. I don't think in the last one that I filed an order, but I'll have to check my records for my last guardianship.
Could you get one filed for me today?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, very good. All right. Thank you all. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge. Maybe.
Yes, you may. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Stephanie. Thank you.
Hi.
That concludes docket.
Sounds good.